He never saw essentially any impact on a national level through 40 years of his efforts. He was faithful and he was despised. And eventually they threw him in a pit to try to shut him up. I see so many parallels between Jeremiah's time and Jeremiah and our time and faithful preachers today. We stand near the Holocaust. We have to be on the brink of a devastating judgment in this nation. We have gone through some quasi-revivals. There are people who would argue that we've had some revivals, that the gospel has spread, that Bibles have spread, that we're on television and radio and through all kinds of media, the gospel is going out, and yet we see no reversing of the direction of this nation. We see no lasting results. The church seems superficial and shallow and consumed with self-fulfillment and self-gratification. So we come to a place in the life of Jeremiah that parallels our own time, and we ask this question: how do we approach a nation on the brink of judgment? Let's learn from Jeremiah. I'm going to show you three elements. Number one, Jeremiah understood that he had a divine mission. A divine mission. I'm sure there were people in those days who were calling for all kinds of social reform, all kinds of political action, all kinds of educational advancement. But none of those had anything to do with the calling of Jeremiah, nor do they have anything to do with our calling. Ours is a divine mission. A divine mission. In other words, Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." That becomes clear to us in the commission of Jeremiah. Let's go back to chapter 1. It's one of the most fascinating callings that any man of God has ever had. And here Jeremiah is informed of things about which he had no knowledge. Verse 4, the word of the Lord came to me, he says. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I have appointed you a prophet to the nations." Wow. Here's the first thing to understand about a divine mission. Your life is predestined by God. Your life is predestined by God. Long before Jeremiah was ever conceived in the womb of his mother. Long before Hilkiah, his father, and his mother came together to bring him life. Long before that, sometime not only before the birth of Jeremiah, before the conception of Jeremiah, but probably before the foundation of the world, Jeremiah was chosen and appointed as a prophet, not only to Judah, but to the nations. His message extended beyond Judah, and it's still extending even today across the globe wherever the prophet is read. Long before life ever was given to this man, God had determined to separate him, put him in a unique place at a unique time as a consecrated prophet of God to speak for God. Predestination. Here in this brief beginning with 11 short Hebrew words, God gives Jeremiah his own biography. Beginning in eternity past, the timeless eons of eternity, right on through until there are no more nations left for him to preach, God sums up his calling as predestined.